Hello and welcome to the News at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland. Tonight, Police Scotland say they've seen the number of child abuse investigations soar by almost a third in the last 10 years. The Force's National Child Abuse Investigation Unit says paedophiles are now able to make direct contact with children online within 30 seconds of trying. We'll speak to an expert who says we need to better support young people, stand behind them and be more vigilant towards online harm and child abuse. Also tonight, one of the most deprived areas of Scotland gets a cash injection to change its fortunes. A new cash injection of £650,000 is aiming to turn one part of a Paisley housing scheme into an urban oasis.
You're a big man, I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle, fam.
You may have heard of Biggie Smalls. Well, we'll be meeting the rapping council leader who's bigging up his smallness. And we'll have all the sport with Sheila. What have you got for us tonight?
Well, we'll have the latest on who might be in the dugout at Ibrox next season.
And we'll be talking to the gospel choir who stole the show at Aberdeen Scottish Cup celebrations. I'm Graham Stewart. Welcome to News at 7. Police Scotland is warning that paedophiles are now able to make direct contact with children online within 30 seconds of trying. The Force's National Child Abuse Investigation Unit says nearly every case they deal with involves an alleged offender communicating with a child through social media and streaming platforms. Our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan followed the Force on a raid and asked DC Helena Scott about the extent of the problem.
We investigate persons who are carrying out online offences against children and exploiting children sexually online. The problem that we have with this type of crime is it's relentless. You feel like you're making a difference, and then the next day you come in, the pile just gets higher and higher and higher because there's more and more offenders out there and it's just not slowing down.
Well, Police Scotland says it's noticed a surge in cases post-COVID, and Detective Constable Dave Murray has the harrowing job of identifying victims in any new footage or images that are seized.
4 years ago, we were identifying approximately 25 to 30 victims a year. We're doing more than 10 times that now. For the last year, we've almost identified nearly 400 victims, and 90% of those children are from Scotland.
Would it be fair to say that you're prepared to put yourself through this because you know how important it is?
It is very important, yeah.
Well, earlier I spoke to Annabelle Turner, who's the Director of Cyberspace Scotland, who work to protect children, and I asked her why she thought we were seeing an increase in offending.
What we've seen over the last decade is just an enormous increase in the global marketplace for sexual material involving children and young people. And it's driven, there's huge financial drivers for it, and that's what's driving.
And what seems to be new, I mean, in the past it was often offending to do with downloading pictures, but now it's offending a lot of the time in chatting to children. How is it so easy for for adults to strike up conversations with children?
I think as a society we've moved to this sort of very open method of communication online. So across all of the platforms we're sort of constantly promoting the idea that we will all be heavily engaging in that space. So it's just a kind of direct consequence of that, really. All of the children and young people that we work with, or the vast majority of them, have social media accounts and also game virtually every day on the main gaming platforms. So they're just very, very accessible.
Yeah, and the police are finding it really difficult to get on top of this. So is this a responsibility for all of us?
100%. So I think we really need to view this as a battle that we all need to take a part in responding to. And so I'm often asked how parents should respond to this, but actually every adult needs to help respond to this. So all of the listeners who are engaging online, whenever we come across child sexual abuse material, whether it's on mainstream pornography sites, whether it's in other spaces, we need to be reporting it to organisations like the Internet Watch Foundation, who will hashtag it and then they will take it down. We need to be standing with children and young people to reduce any shame that they feel, any sense that this is in some way their responsibility or their fault, and we have to work against that. We've got to be building up their self-esteem, building up their knowledge of like what good relationships look like so that they can call this out. And we really have to be standing with them to report harm, because in our programme, a lot of the experiences that children and young people have of reporting harm have been met with just zero action from the platforms in response, and they very quickly adopt patterns where they'll cease reporting because they think that nothing's going to happen if they report it anyway. And so we've fallen into these patterns where we tell young people just to block people who are harming them or approaching them online, and actually blocking is not going to solve this problem. We have to be getting more and more reports in so that we can see the patterns behind this and bring to justice the people who are responsible.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because, as you say, you don't want the children to feel any blame for what's happening, but at the same time, you want to arm them with all the skills to be able to be streetwise online. How do you do that?
By respecting their views and their experiences of those spaces, not being afraid, opening up conversations with them where we tell them that they can help us to change these spaces and that their views are so important, their experiences, because children and adults have such radically different experiences algorithmically online. It's only by understanding what the children are really experiencing that we can build the picture around this, because it's not a simple picture. It's a complex picture around what they're seeing, how they're seeing material that sexualises children and young people. It normalises that. And there's so much that families and parents, teachers, communities can do to counter those narratives all the time.
So is the lesson here that all of us need to support young people more and be more vigilant?
It's absolutely that we all need to work on this together. No child, no parent needs to be feeling individually responsible for this. This is a global challenge, just like is described in the report, and we need to come together to respond, to fight it.
Annabelle, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. Well, it's always good to get your feedback on the stories that we cover on the programme, and some of you have been in touch with us about this subject already. Kate from Glasgow says the only solution to this huge problem is for parents to take their children off social media. It's funny that so many people think that's an horrendous idea, yet we're quite willing to let their children go online and chat with strangers. Alistair, though, says we have 3 daughters, 12, 17 and 19. Our youngest is on a game she asked me to play. Continually people were trying to add her. I'm honestly worried about the girls, as this kind of thing seems to be constant. Well, keep your comments coming in. If you'd like to get in touch, our email address is on the screen right now, news7@bbc.co.uk. That's news7@bbc.co.uk. And if you've been affected by anything we've spoken about tonight, details of help and support is available at bbc.co.uk action line, or you can call for free to hear recorded information on the number you can see on your screen right there. Now, in other news, the Northern Irish rap group Kneecap have announced they're no longer going to perform at Glasgow's Transmit Festival this summer. They'd recently been embroiled in controversy as one member was charged with a terror offence for allegedly displaying a flag in support of Hezbollah. The group said they could no longer perform at the event due to concerns expressed by the police about safety at the event. Now, cuts will be made to day services for adults with learning disabilities in Aberdeenshire. 8 projects will close, with alternative provision being found within charities and other organisations. Social care transport will also be stopped. It comes as the Health and Social Care Partnership tries to make millions of pounds in savings this year. A spokesman for the council said none of us take this responsibility lightly. Unfortunately, the fundamental fact is that we must make savings now. Sadiq Ahmed is a carer for his son Alexander and now faces a long journey to access services.
I took early retirement 8 years ago when my wife was ill with cancer. She passed away. I'm his only carer now. And I'm supposed to transport him back and forth 20 miles in each direction, a 40-mile round trip to Crimmin from my home. Yeah? not thought out at all, and they're trying to cover up their inadequacies and the failures of the past years but by chopping services wildly with no regard for how that's going to affect people.
Deprivation, addiction, antisocial behaviour, fly tipping, even violent crime, all aspects of one Paisley neighbourhood that residents, along with local and national governments, have been battling to combat for years. A new cash injection of £650,000 aims to turn one part of Ferguslie Park into an urban oasis. As Nicole Nicholson reports, it's just the latest step in the regeneration plan, costing millions and transforming lives.
As recently as 5 years ago, Ferguslie Park suffered the dubious distinction of being named the most deprived place in Scotland. Rapid depopulation left swathes of the Paisley district derelict. With livelihoods lost, the area found a host of new problems. Crime and drug use became rife, joblessness bred antisocial behaviour, and Ferguslie became a no-go zone for many Paisley residents. The area's problems are by no means solved, but since 2021, a project titled The Making of Ferguslie has sought to turn things around, with millions of pounds invested to build new homes and businesses, develop green spaces and support community projects.
Everything that's being done here has come from the community. The days of councils telling communities what's going to happen to them are finished in Renfrewshire at least. Every project in the making of Ferguslie and the Green Line has come in consultation with community groups, so the community buy-in is a given. It wouldn't happen if the community didn't want it, and it won't happen unless it's the thing the community wants. And that's the way forward, because we have to address the negativity that's endemic at the moment and show people that there is a positive outcome available.
This vacant site at Beltrees may once have been defined by disorder, dumped trolleys and bottles, dirt bikes. But thanks to £650,000 worth of investment, it's about to be turned into something that local activists have worked very, very hard for.
It was really important that Ferguslie opened itself up and people, if you like, forced to go through Ferguslie, whether it's in the buses, whether it's their cars or whatever, and they can see the change that's happened. I mean, nobody would have believed this 30 years ago.
Renfrewshire Council and the residents it serves hope that the good work continues to turn around Ferguslie's fortunes.
These projects are the finishing stages of it now, that have been lying far too long, empty, and now, once they're finished, then it means that not just the community that's originally for Ferguslie, but the new Ferguslie community, they can mix, they can come together, and they can make use of these brand new projects.
Ferguslie Park certainly remains a work in progress, but this spring it's clear a more promising future is finally starting to blossom. Nicole Nicholson, reporting Scotland, Paisley.
You're watching the news at 7, still to come on the programme.
You're a big man, I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle, fam.
We'll talk to the Conservative leader of Scottish Borders Council about why he's decided to release a rap record.
It's going to be a really wet start to the day tomorrow morning. Heavy and persistent rain. It will improve though. I'll have a full forecast for you later in the programme.
The funeral has taken place of the Quick Fit garage chain founder Sir Tom Farmer. The 84-year-old businessman died peacefully at his home in Edinburgh earlier this month. This lunchtime, his hearse passed by the Hibs Football Club stadium, and our reporter Richard Forbes joined the fans who'd gathered there to pay their respects.
Sir Tom Farmer was born here in Leith in 1940. He had a special connection with the Hibernian football team and was a majority stakeholder in the club for 28 years. This lunchtime, the fans repaid that loyalty.
They broke into both tears and applause as the hearse passed. Many spoke of how grateful they were that Sir Tom stepped in when the club was in trouble.
As a Hibby, and I have been a Hibby all my life, so it does make sense to come and say thank you to him, just to say thank you for everything he's done.
And him and my dad were good friends, but he's been a legend to the club. He saved the club, you know, for emerging with the Hearts. So
he didn't have to do that. He wasn't a football man, but he's a proud Leither, and I believe he did it for the community in Leith. So that's why I'm here to pay my respects today with my dog.
He was Sir Tom Farmer, and that knighthood in 1997 was for services to the automotive industry. Many of us will have been customers of the quick-fit tyre business he established in 1971.
This morning's funeral was a family event, but we understand there will be a public memorial service for Sir Tom later in the year to acknowledge the civic work he did for Scotland and beyond. Richard Forbes, reporting Scotland.
OK, let's get a roundup of the stories making the BBC News app in Scotland. And a truck driver who killed a pedestrian as he crossed the road has been jailed for 6.5 years. Edward Feely hit Robert Shearer Gibb in Blantyre in South Lanarkshire. Councillors have been asked to approve a public consultation on plans to relocate a school for additional support needs in Dingwall. Parents have been campaigning to replace St Clement's for more than 20 years. And the former Rangers and Liverpool midfielder Willie Stevenson, who won top-flight titles in Scotland and England, has died at the age of 85. Well, for more information on all these stories, you can scan the QR code right there, and that will take you to the BBC Scotland News app, where there's plenty more stories for you. Now, 13 mobile telephone masts have been upgraded to improve signals in rural areas of Scotland. As part of a UK government scheme, the masts now provide coverage from all 4 mobile network operators. Cameron Buttle reports.
13 masts across Scotland have been upgraded. 4 of them are down here in the Scottish borders. One of those around 10 miles from here in Kelso. Previously, these masts only provided emergency 999 cover and connection to the EE network. Now they've been upgraded, they can connect to all 4 mobile phone networks. The south of Scotland will also see improvements in the Dumfriesshire, Clydesdale and Tweeddale area. This will include people using the popular walking route, the Southern Upland Way. The other areas getting these upgrades are Argyll, Bute and Lochaber and Ayr, Carrick and Cumnock. The UK government is funding the upgrades. It says this will transform connectivity in remote areas of Scotland that have suffered from poor mobile phone signals, providing a reliable 4G service to rural communities.
Yeah, in some parts it's difficult, but you have to go to certain areas. So yeah, it's a lot better.
There's still a lot of places you can't get a signal. One of them's just outside between the Kelso to Coulson Road. Just as you come in, 99% of the times it'll die in you.
And what does that mean to you if you get a big improvement in your mobile signal?
Oh, it would be great for my daughter. Not quite so much me, but definitely, because it can be frustrating sometimes.
Everyone relies on the phone. You need your phone for everything, even for having stuff in the car and things like that. And yeah, listen to music as well, you know, music cutting off on your phone and all sorts of things. Everyone relies on the phone for signal.
UK-wide, more than 50 masts have been upgraded. This is part of the government's plan, which has already delivered coverage to 95% of the UK landmass. Wales has seen the biggest improvement with 28 upgraded masts, 9 in rural England. The improvement programme will continue with further upgrades being carried out right up until 2027. Cameron Buttle reporting Scotland, Kelso.
Now, should you ever mix music and politics? Well, the Conservative leader of Scottish Borders Council, Ewan Jardine, certainly thinks so. He's turned his hand to rap and, under the name Ewan J, has released a track called Little Man, which talks about how his height, he's 5'1" incidentally, never stopped him reaching his goals. And our reporter David Knox caught up with him in Galashiels to find out more.
In many respects, Ewan Jardine is just like any other council leader. Gets potholes filled, the bins emptied and the grass cut. But there is something a little bit different about the Conservative who heads up Scottish Borders Council. He's also a rapper.
Scotland starts here, forgotten lands and forgotten history. A border reaver, bordering on putting people out of misery. You're a big man, I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle, fam.
We're all unique in every single sense. Nobody should be put into a box. So I really believe in challenge creativity and challenge ourselves, but challenge perceptions and challenge stereotypes. Hopefully this track goes a way of doing that. It will take some people by surprise, but those who have known me for a long time know that I'm into hip hop, know I'm into rap, and know I've always liked to write lyrics and perform, etc. So hopefully that goes a long way dispelling that myth. But those who haven't, they're catching up now, and this is who I am. I'm not hiding who I am, and I don't think any politician should hide who they are.
Game's over, call it. Dog on the pitch, 1966. but this is Scotland winning the cup, taking over.
Despite the busy schedule of balancing budgets, endless meetings and events, Councillor Jardine has his sights set on releasing an album later this year, promoting rap music, the underdog and the Scottish Borders.
Hopefully people hear me and then go and listen to other rap artists in Scotland. It's not a little niche thing, it's something exploring. People are putting great work in that, and I'm just one person, hopefully putting an eye on the rap scene, but also putting an eye on the Scottish Borders and the south of Scotland.
You're a big man, I'm a little man, but I'll still leave you brittle, fam.
Maybe a future star, who knows? David Knox reporting there. Still to come, we have the weather with Christopher, and we meet the gospel choir who joined Aberdeen's Scottish Cup celebrations. But first, it's the sport with Sheila.
Hello there. We begin with Rangers, and as the club's fans await news of who might become their new manager, perhaps the favourite for the position, Davide Ancelotti, has held fresh talks with the club and wants the job. The 35-year-old Italian has worked with his father Carlo at several clubs, most recently Real Madrid, but has opted not to become his assistant at the Brazil national team. Ancelotti Jr. was approached about the Rangers job earlier this month, and after meeting the club's hierarchy in London last week, hopes a deal can be reached in the coming days. Hibernian head coach David Gray says the club have to kick on from their third-place finish by lifting a trophy next season. Hibs had a dreadful start and were bottom of the Premiership at the end of last year, but an excellent run of form saw them finish as best of the rest. You can hear Gray's full interview on Sportsound on Saturday as he looks to build on a promising debut season in the Easter Road dugout.
No, it is a genuine thing that the players will look to try and do at the start of this season. When we sit down and look about what our goal setting is for this season, it'll be very, very similar to what it was this year. In fact, it'll be the same, which is can we finish in Europe? And can we win a cup? And that is something that is a genuine opportunity for every even the players we try and bring to the football club. That's not something you can play your whole career. You might never play, you go down south, you play 500 games, never play in Europe and never win anything, but you've still had a fantastic career. Of course you have. These are the extra wee special moments that this football club can provide.
On to rugby now, where Glasgow Warriors and Edinburgh are involved in this weekend's playoffs for the United Rugby Championship title. Edinburgh take on Pretoria Bulls in South Africa on Saturday in their last stage match, which Jamie Ritchie is hoping he won't be his final appearance for the club before his move to Perpignan. While for the reigning champions Glasgow, back row Rory Darge believes they can shrug off recent defeats by Benetton and Leinster to knock out Cape Town Stormers at Scotstoun on Friday.
It's a game that's obviously a final, whereas that last game of the season, there wasn't as much on the line. It's this weekend is sort of, as you know, it's do or die. It's finals rugby, so it's a completely different challenge, and a completely different challenge from the point of view of what the team we're playing. Stormers are the attacking threats that they have from individuals being able to beat you with feet, or obviously big ball carriers in the pack. It'll be another completely different challenge.
Obviously, we had a bit to do in our last couple of regular season games, so we're proud of the fact that we've got here, and we think we've got a really good opportunity to go and put a good performance in, and hopefully progress. Although not all the results have gone our way in the last couple of months or so, I think there's been a real consistency in how we've performed and played, and that's, I think, what we've struck upon, and we're applying ourselves really well. We're confident in what we're trying to do. I would love to go out on a high, and making the playoffs is something we've not done for a couple of years, so super proud of that. But I feel like we've got an opportunity to go and do a bit more, and it's 3 games of rugby with an opportunity to win something, and they're one-off games, so why not have a crack?
Big games for them both this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to return to a big game on Saturday, of course, which was the Scottish Cup. Yes. And, of course, there were scenes of jubilation from Aberdeen supporters on Sunday as the team paraded through the town centre in an open-top bus, showing off the Scottish Cup to thousands of fans. But one group of supporters, a gospel choir no less, proved to be a massive hit on social media. Our reporter Martin Graham has more.
Aberdeen's once-in-a-generation victory in the Scottish Cup led to an outpouring of joy and emotion in the Granite City. The team and their manager, Jimmy Teelan, drove through the city centre in traditional style on an open-top bus, with nearly 100,000 supporters cheering them on. But one group of fans in particular seemed to have stolen the show, on social media anyway. The gospel choir from Jesus House Church stepped outside and began serenading the fans with their own renditions of Aberdeen songs. The church's pastor, Dr. Mark Osa-Igion, explained why they wanted to join in.
We're right in the centre, so with the football team going past year and having won this cup after 35 years, and it was a Sunday, we said, no, we got to be part of this. And so it was just a great joy for the city, and we're part of the city, so we just wanted to be part of that celebration.
Isn't that the idea? When you win, it gets everybody really excited and binds most people together. So it was a beautiful thing to see the rest of Aberdeen, the team, the people just coming together to celebrate such an amazing win over 35 years. That's a long span and worthy of all celebrations. So it was really a good thing to join in.
And, like the rest of the city, the choir are hoping it won't be another 35 years until they're singing with joy once again. Martin Graham, reporting Scotland.
Well, something a bit different, isn't it? Now, let's get the weather forecast. Christopher is with us. Where are we with the weather these days?
It's a bit topsy-turvy, isn't it? After all that dry weather we had, rain in the forecast, a lot of rain in the forecast. Lots of pictures coming to us today, as usual. A great picture there of the sunshine in Fife at Crail, but some sharp showers, and you'll have known about those if you were caught in them. But in between, some sunshine, some fluffy white cumulus clouds. Tonight, though, and tomorrow, some very heavy rain. In fact, a really wet start to the day tomorrow. Let's take a look. This is what's happening over the next few days. It's low pressure ruling the roost. That means unsettled. That means weather fronts. That means rain. There'll be windows of opportunity in between, but the wet weather never far away. And as I mentioned, some very heavy rain moving in tonight, and it's still with us first thing tomorrow. In fact, let's take a look. This is 5 a.m. Thursday morning, that heavy rain tracking its way northwards. So for the morning commute, it will be pretty soggy. Poor conditions actually on the roads with surface water and spray, some big puddles and some heavy rain in the mix there. That's indicated by the greens on the chart. Temperatures around 8 to 12 Celsius, quite blustery conditions at times too. So it is a miserable start to the day tomorrow, but it will improve because as we head through the course of Thursday morning towards Thursday lunchtime, that rain continues to pull northwards, eventually becoming confined to the Northern Isles, and that means something a little bit drier into the afternoon. Still some heavy downpours to be had, but not as wet as how we start the day. And then for Friday, we've got a little bit of cloud and rain first thing, but a ridge of high pressure moves in behind, and that means for many through Friday, some sunny spells are set to develop. Still some cloud and rain first thing across the northeast, the Banff and Buchan coast, some cloud and showers across Shetland. Elsewhere though, into the afternoon, sunshine developing, sharp showers there across the southern uplands. Temperatures 16 to 18 Celsius as the afternoon high. After that brief respite on Friday, low pressure returns for the weekend. That means we'll be unsettled. And whilst Monday looks reasonable, you can see the areas of low pressure are nearby for much of next week too. So this is the weekend. This is Saturday. Showers and then a heavier band of rain working its way eastwards. Quite warm though, and certainly in the south, mid-20s, not for us, mind. This is Sunday, blustery once again with a fair number of showers, perhaps even the odd rumble of thunder in the mix at times too. Temperature-wise, 13 to 15 Celsius. So this is the outlook for the next few days at least. There's that heavy rain tomorrow, and then as we head through towards the weekend, it's certainly set to remain unsettled. That long dry spell seems an awful long time ago now, doesn't it? But hey-ho, there we go. That's the forecast.
And we had all these weeks of sunshine and everyone's saying, oh, we need some rain.
And now we get it now, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got more than we bargained for. Yeah. Christopher,
Yes.
Thank you very much indeed for that. And that is about it for tonight's news at 7. Amy Irons is back tomorrow from us. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.